Imagine walking into a world where you're instantly judged, mocked, and treated like you don't belong. This is Amara King's reality. Quiet, determined, and different. At Waverly Ridge Prep School, where golden futures are crafted, 3 notorious bullies set their sights on her, thinking she'd be an easy target. But what they didn't realize was that Amara wasn't just quiet. She was resilient. What started as another day of cruel taunts would soon unravel into an unforgettable lesson that would shake the entire school to its core. What did Amara do? And how did she turn the tables on the bullies who thought they'd already won? Stay tuned to uncover the moment that left everyone speechless. It started on a day that should have been ordinary. Waverly Ridge Prep School, a fancy private institution where kids wore polished uniforms, carried the latest tablets, and spoke like their golden futures were already guaranteed. But beneath all the shine, ugliness festered. At the heart of that ugliness were 3 names everyone knew: Carter Briggs, Mason Duke, and Travis Cole. They ruled the school with fake smiles and real cruelty. Today, their focus was locked on Amara King, the quiet, soft-spoken black girl who had transferred just 3 months ago. Amara kept to herself. She was polite, hardworking, and determined. But to them, she was an outsider. She was different, and they hated different. The courtyard buzzed with students when Carter, the ringleader with messy blonde hair and a permanent smirk, spotted her sitting alone, engrossed in a book. He nudged Mason and Travis, his voice loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. "Look at her," Carter sneered. "Bet she can't even read that book. Probably just looking at the pictures." A few kids laughed nervously, while others avoided the scene, pretending not to hear. Amara heard. She slowly closed her book, her fingers tightening around it, but said nothing. She always said nothing. Her silence only emboldened them. Mason, tall with a square jaw and hollow eyes, chimed in. "Bet she got in here on charity. No way someone like her could afford Waverly." "Yeah," Travis added, laughing. "Probably cleaning houses after school. Right, Amara?" Carter stepped closer, towering over her. "You don't belong here, girl," he spat. "You're a mistake in the system." Amara looked up, her calm brown eyes meeting his sneer. She didn't cry. She didn't tremble. She just stared at him, cold and unflinching, like she was looking straight through him. That unnerved Carter. He wanted fear, but this wasn't fear. Frustrated, he kicked her backpack, sending it skidding across the cement. A few gasps rose from the gathering crowd. Someone whispered, "This is getting bad." But no one stepped in. No teachers. No friends. Amara stood up, walked over to her bag, dusted it off, and quietly returned to her seat. The boys laughed louder, convinced they'd won. They thought she was weak. What they didn't know was that their victory was an illusion. By lunchtime, the story spread like wildfire. The 3 golden boys humiliating the new girl. Students whispered. Some felt sorry for her. Most just watched, curious, like it was a show. And Carter, Mason, and Travis? They were loving every second. But it wasn't enough to embarrass her. They wanted her broken. After practice, Mason hatched the plan. "We corner her," he said. "She needs to learn her place." "Yeah," Travis agreed, grinning. "Scare her a little. No cameras. No teachers. Just us and her," Carter added, sealing the pact. They chose the abandoned courtyard behind the gym. A desolate spot with cracked concrete, rusted benches, and broken light posts. Perfect for cowards. Meanwhile, Amara stayed late in the library, as she often did. Her mother had always told her, "Stay ready so you never have to get ready." Amara listened. She'd heard the whispers, the laughter, and seen the looks. Deep down, she knew today wouldn't end like every other day. Something in the air felt different as she walked toward the parking lot. Carter, Mason, and Travis stepped out from behind the gym wall, blocking Amara's path. Their grins were sharp, predatory, as if this moment was something they'd been craving all day. "Where you going, little girl?" Mason taunted, his voice dripping with mockery. "Don't leave now," Travis sneered. "We just want to talk." They circled her slowly, their confidence growing with every step. 3 against 1. Bigger. Stronger. Anyone else would have been scared. But not Amara. She let out a deep, steady sigh, like she wasn't scared, like she wasn't even bothered. "You sure you want to do this?" she asked quietly, her tone calm, almost bored. The boys laughed. Carter lunged first, fast, clumsy, grabbing for her backpack strap. And that's when everything changed. Amara moved faster than they could blink. She twisted, grabbed Carter's arm, and flipped him clean over her shoulder like he was weightless. He hit the ground with a heavy thud, groaning in pain. Mason charged next. Big mistake. Amara ducked under his punch, slipped behind him, and swept his legs out from under him in one smooth motion. He crashed to the ground, gasping for air. Travis, now visibly shaking, thought he could catch her off guard from behind. He swung his fist, only to have Amara spin, catch his wrist midair, and twist it backward until he dropped to his knees, howling in pain. 3 golden boys down, groaning, defeated. The sound of it echoed through the courtyard. Amara stood over them, her expression as calm as a cloud. She adjusted her backpack, dusted off her sleeves, and looked at them with the kind of quiet power that spoke louder than any words. "You picked the wrong girl," she said simply, her voice steady. Then she walked away, head held high, her steps slow and deliberate. No fear. At the gym doors, a crowd had secretly gathered. The whispers turned into a roar of shocked murmurs. Phones were raised, screens were flashing, and videos were already being uploaded. By nightfall, Amara King wasn't just the quiet new girl anymore. She was a storm they never saw coming. By the next morning, Waverly Ridge Prep was ablaze with gossip. Everyone, and I mean everyone, had seen the videos. Amara King, the girl who took down the 3 untouchable boys, was the talk of group chats, Instagram, TikTok, even breakfast tables. At a school where reputation was everything, Carter Briggs, Mason Duke, and Travis Cole had just lost theirs. Completely. They tried to play it off, laugh it away, pretend it wasn't a big deal. But pride is hard to fake when it's lying broken on a sidewalk. That Monday morning, the school had no choice but to act. The 3 boys were summoned to the principal's office, and so was Amara. Principal Hayward, an old white man with tired blue eyes and a voice like sandpaper, sat across from them at his long oak desk. His gaze swept over the group like a judge weighing his verdict. "Fighting on school grounds is a serious offense," he began slowly. "But bullying, racial harassment, and group assault," he shook his head, his voice heavy with disappointment, "that's worse." Carter opened his mouth, his voice cracking. "Sir, we didn't." Hayward raised a finger, silencing him. Then he turned to Amara. "Miss King, is there anything you'd like to say?" Amara sat up straight, her posture poised, her voice soft but resolute. "No, sir. I believe the videos said enough." The room fell silent. Hayward leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. Then he spoke again, his tone cold and firm. "You 3 are suspended, effective immediately," he said, his words cutting through the air. "Possible expulsion pending a school board hearing." Carter's jaw dropped. Mason cursed under his breath. Travis punched the arm of his chair. But she's the one who hurt us," Travis barked. "Self-defense," Hayward replied firmly. "The footage is clear." He leaned forward, his gaze locking onto the 3 boys. "And for your information," he added, glancing briefly at Amara, "Miss King is not just a regular transfer student." He stood up, walked to a dusty cabinet and pulled out a file. Tossing it onto the desk, it slid toward the boys with an unsettling finality. The name on the file read, "King, Amara Lynn." "You know who her mother is?" Mr. Hayward asked, his voice calm but cutting. The boys said nothing. He smiled grimly. "Colonel Monica King, United States Marine Corps, Medal of Honor recipient, Homeland Security Advisor." The weight of those words filled the room. "She's been trained in self-defense since she could walk." Silence. The room froze. Carter's face drained of color. Mason looked like he might be sick. Travis stared hard at the floor. They hadn't just picked on the quiet new girl. They had picked on the daughter of a war hero, A girl trained to protect herself. A girl who could have broken them but chose not to. Mr. Hayward closed the file with a definitive snap. His eyes bore into the boy's. "You judged her by her skin," he said, his voice sharp now. "You assumed she was weak. Poor. Less." He leaned forward, his gaze unrelenting. "And now you're going to learn just how wrong you were. The hard way." The hallway was packed. Word had spread fast. When Amara walked out, every head turned. Some kids looked guilty. Others stared with wide eyes. A few nodded in quiet respect. And then, something unexpected happened. A slow clap began. One pair of hands, then two, then 20. Within moments, the hallway erupted in applause. Amara didn't smile. She didn't need to. With her head held high, backpack slung over one shoulder, she walked down the hallway like a warrior leaving a battlefield she never wanted to fight on, but had already won. Amara sat under the big oak tree near the front gate, the breeze brushing her braids against her cheek. She opened her worn book, the same one Carter had mocked her for, and flipped to a fresh page. But this time the words felt different, stronger, full of fire. She had shown them all, not with loud words, not with anger, but with calm, strength, and truth. Amara didn't need to prove she belonged. She had already rewritten the story, and the next time anyone thought about messing with her, they'd remember the day the bullies hit the ground, and they'd think twice. This story isn't just about Amara. It's a reminder of something powerful. Never judge a person by their looks. Strength often speaks loudest in silence. And karma? It never misses. If you love the story and want more real, powerful tales, smash that subscribe button now. Because more stories like this are coming your way, and you don't want to miss a single one.